Well, hello again. It's Friday at 4 o'clock Pacific time, which means it's drinking time. I don't know about you guys, but I had a craptacular week. So I'm actually pretty excited to be making the Vesper for you guys today, mostly because it's one of the booziest drinks in my repertoire and it's one of the best. So if I was not doing this, I'd probably be having a Vesper anyhow. Glad you can make it back. Hope you can follow along. We won't spend a lot of time going over the tools and stuff like we did last week because you guys already know that stuff. But I was going to spend a little bit of time talking about martinis in general and gins. I know a lot of you don't like gin. I used to hate gin up until probably about 2 years ago. I used to equate gin to drinking a Christmas tree. Really bad. The thing about it is I was drinking bad gin, right? It wasn't that gin is bad, but bad gins are horrible. So most of you probably know this, but all gins start out as vodkas, right? I mean, all vodkas are gin. If you go to a vodka distillery, especially a small one, chances are they're going to be making gin too. And all gin really is vodka infused with botanicals. Most of the time, you get a very strong juniper botanical. Those are, some people like that. I don't really enjoy that much. But there are some really, really good gins out there. And since I started drinking good gins, I started changing my martinis from vodka to gin martinis. And boy, they're amazing. The cool thing about gins is you can now start to get them in all kinds of different flavors. And I don't mean flavors like strawberry and vanilla and all that weird crap that vodkas are. I mean interesting botanical flavors, right? There's juniper, the traditional stuff. You'll get elderberry, which is super good. One of my favorites, actually, I can only find in Europe. I do a lot of traveling. When I go to Europe, I've been coming back through Reykjavik in Iceland just to pick up this gin right here. If you can find this in the States, get it for yourself. It is amazing. It almost doesn't taste like a gin. The botanicals are awesome. I think you'll really, really enjoy it. So that's gin. When we start talking about martinis, you start talking about dry martinis. And what is a dry martini? Well, a typical martini recipe calls for about 2.5 ounces of gin or vodka and about a half an ounce of vermouth. A dry martini is made with, a lot of people call them a silver or clear vermouth, but it's just a dry vermouth, right? And I use the old martini, right? Vermouth, right? Nothing special there. It's just a Rossi vermouth, extra dry. Makes a good dry martini. You hear a lot of folks talk about a dirty martini. If you take that same recipe and add some olive brine to it, well, that gives you your dirty martini. Having said that, about the whole adding olive brine to a martini, not my thing. But I will say, one of my best friends, Brian Weber, actually stuffs his own olives, and they're amazing. He takes green olives and stuffs them with blue cheese, and they are divine. I go to Trader Joe's, and I get these. These are super yummy. If you want an olive in your martini, these truffle cheese stuffed olives. And it sounds nasty at first, but trust me, once you get a good martini behind you and you put the olive in there, it really enhances it. I don't think I would go as far as to put a half an ounce of olive brine in there. It seems a little bit too much, but the olive does make it nice. It adds a little bit of salt to it. It's super tasty. A lot of you, so this particular martini recipe doesn't call for vermouth at all, which is unusual. It calls for an aperitif. And I recommend Lillet Blanc, but I also told you guys you could use this Cocchi Americano, these two different kinds. I think you'll find, so they're really good by themselves. You can just buy the stuff and drink it. Makes a really good aperitif for the summertime, just sipping. They're kind of boozy, so you have to watch out a little bit. In fact, I think we should taste test them now. Let's figure out what the difference is. So the first one I'm going to try is this Cocchi Americano. Okay. Well, that's good. That's some good stuff. So what you'll find with this is you'll find it's very sweet with just a little bit of spice. Super good. And now we'll go for the Lillet Blanc, which is the one that I typically use in my Vespers. Cheers. Oh, dude, that's good. So this is kind of a much cleaner taste. It's not as sweet as the Americano here, but it does taste more wine-like. So if you like wine, you may white wine in particular, you may like the Lillet Blanc a little bit more. I don't really like wine that much. This is super good. It's got some spice to it that I like. It kind of reminds me a little bit of rye, but don't get me wrong, it doesn't taste like a rye at all. But it's super yummy. As far as gins, I kind of told you about this guy. We're going to be using a dry gin tonight. The Vesper Martini needs that dry gin. I will say, I buy this stuff by the half gallon. Hadley & Sons, I get it at Total Wine. This is one of the nicest, just really good gins that I've found. It's inexpensive. I think I get that whole half gallon for maybe $30. And it's really good. It's a great gin for sipping. It's a great gin for making martinis out, or not martinis, but actually, yeah, martinis out of. Great for, I can't even remember the name of the drink. Maybe we'll make the drink I can't think of next week, which is a gin drink as well. But super good for those as well. It's kind of my house gin. I told you about my house bourbon last week. This Hadley & Sons is kind of my house gin. I really, really like it. So, we've talked about kind of gins in general. By the way, when you're making a martini, everything I told you about the gins, 2.5 parts of gin to about a half a part of vermouth, flip it and just add vodka for a vodka martini. The Vesper is super interesting. And the first time I heard about the Vesper, I thought it sounded really nasty because it combines gin and vodka in one martini and the aperitif. It's 100% solid booze. There is nothing in it that is not alcoholic, which is another reason why I like this particular drink. If you want to start the weekend great, this is one of the best drinks you can get. So we have our Lillet Blanc. Okay. We have our Beefeaters. Okay. We've got our vodka, and I'm using Tito's. Got a shaker, and like I said, I'm lazy. I like the shaker with the strainer on top, so I don't have to use my own strainer. And I've got my lemon. Okay. I've got a peeler, and I've also got a knife. What we'll do with the peeler is we're going to actually peel the zest off here. We're going to kind of what they call express or get the essence out of the peel. Sometimes I do that. Other times I actually just like to take a slice of the lemon. Kind of depends on how much of the lemon flavor you like with it. But let's go ahead and make this bad boy. So I got a whole bunch of ice. Oh, hey, martini glass. Have to have one of these. Now these, check that out, man. So those of you that know my wife, Molly, I love her to death. She's a klutz. She breaks stuff. So around my house, we don't get nice things. This guy, look, it's like clear, super clear, hard, kind of bendy plastic that she can take outside in the summer and drop these things. They don't break. They're freaking awesome. So if you have a klutz in the house, these are awesome. I got them on Amazon. You can ping me and I can try to find them and get them for you, but they're amazing. They will not break. They're super clear. You can throw them in the dishwasher. They're awesome. So let's go ahead and make this bad boy. The first thing we're going to do, we're going to let our shaker up with ice. Okay, so I'm going to load that bad boy up. And I really have it, I've got that thing loaded with ice. And the reason why is when we shake this thing, the way I typically shake my drinks is I get them to the point where they almost start to, you'll start to see some ice crystals from the water form on there. I like them super, super cold. So let's start measuring. Remember, the first thing we're going to do is the gin, Beefeater's gin. Okay, we're going to take 3 parts of dry gin. So this is my Japanese jigger. So there's 2 ounces on one side and 1 ounce on the other. Oh boy. Oh, daddy likey. So 3 parts of gin. We're going to take the Tito's or whatever vodka. We're going to take 1 part vodka. And right about now, a lot of martini purists are like, oh my God, Steve, what are you doing? Okay. And we're going to take a half a part of the Lillet Blanc. Okay. Got that all on our shaker. I'm going to shake this super vigorously. The only time that I do not shake the hell out of a drink is if I have something leafy in here, like basil or mint or thyme or something like that. And the reason why I don't is you need to be careful because those types of kind of leafy things, if you break the leaf in the drink, the chlorophyll in there comes out and it kind of sours the drink a little bit. I think you'll find. Probably not a big thing. So I'm going to shake this until this starts to actually super condense and start to crystallize. Shaking away. Shaking. I keep shaking. This thing's getting super cold. My hand's getting cold. Okay, now I don't know if you can see that. See this? Trying to see that? You see the ice crystals kind of forming on the outside? This thing's done. I'm going to pour this bad boy into my martini glass. Oh. Can you see it's kind of dark and cloudy there? It's because part of the drink, the water part of the drink, is a little bit frozen. And that's the way I like them. I like those ice crystals a little bit. Okay? So there's the boozy part. Okay, now we're going to get the essence of the lemon. Right? So I'm just going to take this. I'm going to take a big old part of the peel off of here. Okay? And to get the essence out, you just kind of squeeze it. You're not going to probably be able to see this because it's so tiny. But you kind of twist it in there and it sprays. Now, the other way to do this that I like to do, because I actually do like the lemon flavor in here, is I will take a little chunk of lemon. Okay, see that? Just a little chunk. And I will, like we did last week with the old fashioned, I'll rim the glass with it. Okay, squeeze a little bit, put that bad boy down in there. Now we're talking 4.5 shots of booze right here. 4 shots of actual booze and a half a shot of aperitif. Holy crap balls. That is amazing, right? I love it. I've never tried this for the people who love vodka and don't like gin. I've never tried this with the reverse recipe. It would really change the flavor profile, I think. You can experiment a little bit. Try the Cochi Americano for a little bit sweeter drink. You may want to try a little bit more of the Lillet Blanc than a half a part, because it's a fairly dry drink. But dude, oh my goodness, that makes it all worth it on a Friday. So, Vesper Martini, super easy to make, really. 3 parts of dry gin. I use Beefeaters. I hate Gordon's, but Tanqueray. There's a bunch of other kind of London style English dry gins. Take the one that you like. Take a good vodka that you like. I had Tito's on hand. There's actually a vodka called Star Blue, which is super inexpensive. I buy it by the half gallon to mix with stuff at Total Wine. That's typically what I use. And then play around with the Lillet Blanc and the Cochi Americano. Probably any aperitif, any light aperitif will work that's a little sweeter. I think, with those ingredients, you can kind of play around. And of course, you got the lemon. You kind of play around, figure out what you like. And there's room to experiment in here. But this is by a long shot my favorite martini that I make. Super easy to make, super boozy. Like I said, usually I make one of these and split it between 2 people. So we'll have, if I make 3 or 4 of these, Really, I'm drinking 2.5, which is still a lot. But anyway, I hope you guys had fun. We'll do this again next Friday. I'm thinking I'll probably go one or two directions. I may go Manhattans, and we may do like a couple different kind of Manhattans. Like I make what they call a perfect Manhattan. I also make a really super yummy chocolate Manhattan, which sounds nasty, but is actually pretty darn tasty. And then there's a variant that I do, which is replaces the vermouth with some peach bourbon, which actually is super tasty. So I may go that route, or I maybe do like a twofer where we make two different smaller drinks, like maybe a Revolver and a Suffering Bastard or something like that. So you can get two different tastes of two different things. But anyway, that's maybe what we got on tap for next week. And until next week, cheers. If you had a bad week like me, this makes everything better, guys. I will see you all next week and hope you learned something. Cheers, guys.